All right, good afternoon. It is a very sunny, bright and beautiful, warm day in Colorado. Chores are getting done, and I promised that I would get some journaling in, some charting in this weekend before the market opened. We're getting pretty close to that time period right now. It's 2 o'clock Central. I'm sorry, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, so getting pretty close to market open. So we're going to zip through a couple of these charts real quick. Just get prepared for the week. Previously, we released a video about live cattle, so we're watching that. And we want to take a look at the Euro FX today to see where that's going to go. Might clear the chart up a little bit and just kind of start fresh. All right, so let's take a look. What's the Euro doing in terms of CoT? On the Friday roundup, I think we pointed this out. Commercial interest is coming down a little bit here. Set two new highs in the previous weeks, and we haven't made the adjustment here. So we're going to make the adjustment here for our highest value in the last 6 months, because that's going to reflect moving forward. So you'll see that the values change quite significantly because this is the highest of the last 6 months. So here's our 6-month index. We haven't set a new high in the 3-year index, but this is when they started getting really bullish back here on the 3-year index, and it came to fruition if we followed this. So if we were following the U.S. Dollar index, we probably would have had some indication about where this was going. So not as bullish as they were previously. So this is about a difference of just about 30,000 net long contracts. So they're coming down a little bit. Are we going to see a turn this week? Will we have another down week? Boy, I mean, this could be an interesting week of trading, that's for sure. So let's just take a look at the Euro FX again. We're going to try to not beat a dead horse here because we've already gone over a lot of this. So try to find some areas of support and resistance that would be troublesome for the euro. Looks like we couldn't clear that 13275 mark. Looks like that, they traded through it, but we couldn't close above it. So a little bit of profit taking on Friday. Actually, we made some loot short in the top of this, just a quick scalp, nothing crazy. So here's that distant downtrend line. I mean, we've been drawing downtrend lines for a while here to see where this is going to be, where there's going to be some confluence, and where this might stop or where it might run into some resistance. So no big surprise on the CoT index, but where are we now? Okay, comms are running down. The TOS indicator's got to be updated here, so this can reflect the 100% range. We don't like to be up over 100. We like to see 100 as the highest, and then moving forward, use it as a comparison tool. So up over 100 just means that we haven't adjusted the TOS indicator yet. So purple line is the 6-month index, and we've got the 6-month index here in the purple. Green 3, purple 6-month. So we're coming down a little bit, but we're still up. We're at 60. At 60%. So not nearly as bullish. So what do we got? I think what we've got here is WPR is now oversold. Comms are not nearly as bullish as they have been in the last couple of weeks, coming down to the 60% range. Are we peaking out? Are we topping out? We don't know. We're going to have to take a look at what to see what happens in the first couple of days of trading, and also what's happening with the dollar index. So dollar index is it's still getting hammered. We're at 96.093, and the euro turned up on the weekly when the dollar index turned down. So something new that we've been looking into is the correlation So you see these large gaps here. When the dollar's doing well, the euro's not doing that great. When the dollar's doing well, or when the dollar's doing crummy, there seems to be this inverse correlation, right? So dollar index is weakening, euro is strengthening. And we see the same thing coming on, in here. So we get that cross correlation here where if the dollar's doing well, the euro's not doing nearly as well. This is pointed out from a trader in another channel, so we wanted to look at this, and boy, I tell you, when the dollar's peaking out, is it time to get long on the euro, or when it starts to decline. So I think we gotta blend in the fundamentals here to keep an eye on this. At least for me, anyway. I'd like to keep an eye on this moving forward to see where we are in terms of this correlation, this inverse correlation that's happening with the dollar versus the euro FX. So huge gap here, right? Dollar peaks out, euro bottoms out, and look at the index compared to the euro. Ooh. Somebody knew what was going on. Somebody got a head start here. Anyways, so lower time frames. Let's get into the lower time frame because I want to see where we could find a nice safe entry if you want to get short. So we've been following this right along. Is it worth clearing this chart out so that we can get a better look at what's going on? I'll tell you, following this chart throughout the course of the week and being as bullish as commercial interest was and as the market was on the euro, you just see folks, anybody who came at this with with bearish intent did not fare out well. They were punished handsomely. So I mean, here's this trend line here. You break the trend line, you think, oh well, this uptrend's over. You're getting short, and I think some shorts got trapped down here, thinking that this was going to break down. Pretty much each and every time that looking at this chart, where folks thought that maybe the top was in on this. I mean, we thought maybe quite possibly the top was in on this, and bulls found support down here along this uptrend line. So and right here at the bottom of the this 15-minute floor test here between this range, did we get more shorts trapped down here? Did they get crushed because they thought, well, we're breaking this range, we're going down here? So we come back up and test the top of the ceiling, and did breakout traders get stuck long here? Well, to their benefit, there was a nice impulse. I didn't know you could do that. So if you hold the control button, I just saw this the other day when I was using a chart, and it's a whole control for arrow direction. So I didn't know that. So I'm wondering if now some of the other drawing tools have control options. So, and if you're wondering how I get the menu up, right here on the chart, you press the middle of your mouse button and it pulls it up. I had to learn that too. So just some tips and tricks here. Then we had this range again, and we had some declining. We just look at the declining highs here to see where this is going to break. So this is kind of a review, right? This is a review of where we could have found some entries into this very bullish chart, but now not nearly as bullish. So what are we looking at now? What are we looking at now? What I'd like to do is just clear. I'm going to clear this drawing set out so that we can get a better look at things. And we're just going to go moving back from the last 2 weeks. What we like to do is the open, high, low, close scenario for the last 2 weeks, because if this is finding a top, and then let's just turn off this moving average real quick, and let's take off our market sentiment. Let's just hide this for now. I like to get a nice clean chart. It's a nice, the week is new here. And so let's get into it. Let's get into it. What do we got? 20 days to work with. All right. So let's drill back with market open high, low close scenarios. Not printing my Sunday, not printing the Sunday. Sometimes I gotta fiddle with this, right? I like it when it says it's Sunday. So here's a market open last week. So we gapped up last week. Here's the open. And let's just do a 2-week open high, low close scenario. This was last week open because the reason why I do this because I think that I like to see the trading that happens around those areas. I like to see that there's, and let's see here. Let's pick the low. So where these areas are going to be challenged again. So when we come back down and retest those areas, I like to know that those levels are there. For consideration. So, what's going to happen around, last week's low. What's going to happen in here, right? So much for a quick analysis here. And then here's last week's high. I'm going to try to peg this high before they take off the other way. I know what you're saying. You're saying, why don't you just open up the weekly chart and then just tag those, the high, the open, the low, and the close. Open, low, high, open, high, low, close. Why don't you just tag those? TOS does something funny. Even though with the settings on open, high, low, close, when I tag the weeklies, when you drill down into a lower time frame, it doesn't maintain the distance between where you actually tagged the high and the low. It puts it somewhere off to the right. So yeah, weird, right? So this is your 2-week low. What do I like to put that in? What color do I like to put that? Probably orange. So there's your 2-week low. 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago low. And then your open. Your open's just about where. Looks quite different on a bullish chart, I'll tell you that much. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the open and the low is. Yeah, I think so. So before we closed out the week last week, what was our high? What do you know? The high was right at last week's open. I think this is probably going to be an important area. It's already looking like an important area, right? Just based on support and resistance here. Time will tell. But are we going to come down and retest these levels? So we've got our our 2 weeks open high, our low, and our close. And our closes are pretty darn close to where we open. We didn't do a lot of significant gapping on the Euro FX. All right, so we got this now. Well, what are we looking at here? Where are we going to find support if it does come down? Where are our targets? Where would your targets be if this decided to break down a little bit? Right? Where am I going to find? Where am I going to find a target here? What's the Euro thinking? What's the market thinking? I'll tell you what it might be thinking right now. I'll tell you what it might be thinking. It might be putting in a higher low. We're gonna get some pressure up in here. They're gonna pressure the highs before they take this down. I think this is a good area of support, or at least a good test area, right? So we've got this range top going on here. And this is a nice ceiling coming straight through here. We're going to come back down and retest this area. And if we are, how soon? Well, that's almost at the 112. That's a nice number. Let's just put it at the 112. Whoops. Can we undo that? Undo edit price level 112. 1 1. It's a nice round number. That's a little lofty to to short it down here. I'm gonna wait for confirmation, to tell you the truth. So it's a very subtle pivot in here. Very subtle swing pivot that happened just before we took off. And then look at that nice buildup, right? They had a good deal of buildup going on in here. This was a good, hindsight 2020, but this looks like a really good area of buildup for breakout traders. And then you get up in there, get up against that 112, get that nice buildup. I'm sure that the EMA, came into favor here as well. We got a nice pattern, an EMA pinch or squeeze going on. And away it went. But that's a bullish chart, right? I mean, that's a really bullish chart. Not as much, right? And we did get some build up here. We did find some support along this EMA. That helped out a little bit. A little too green for me here. So EuroFX, where are you going? Are we going to get some? We're going to trap some shorts down here, and they're going to go up and challenge that high. Before it takes off. And looking like comms have had their fill with this, and they're not as optimistic up in here. And we would get a strong pivot. I mean, we had somewhat of a pivot here, right? Swing high pivot. Is this the top? Can we say that this is the top? So we're underneath the EMA. We just closed underneath this this uptrend line. I mean, give or take a little bit here. Where are we going to find? Where can we bump into some support along the way that hasn't been tested yet? Before we get a nice bounce play. So I use 15. So I say 15-minute support. Maybe a 15-minute break. So it broke away from this resistance. I think this is a good area to test. I think this is probably going to be a good area to watch. And we say, test. Just watch the area. Watch the confluence around the area. See what's going to happen in here. You want to take a bounce play off of here. Is this thing going to continue to run down here a little bit, come up and retest, this area, and then, then maybe get your bounce play, and then, come up over. I don't see a pivot right now that would suggest that this wants to go the other way. And what we have dialed up in here right now is, a swing high pivot. So I mean, take your pick here. I think with either of these pivots, if you're skeptical about it, but we didn't even clear this swing high. So this local swing high wasn't cleared out. You want to say the euro is going to continue to go up, then come out and take these highs, and even then, you got to find support here. You got to find buyers. Right now, is there a bullish Q? I don't see a bullish Q right now. I do not see a bullish Q at all. This one might take a little bit of patience here. See how this one pans out. And if they do, in fact, get some trap shorts and go up and blast through this descending highs and come up through here. So what's the second scenario is that we trap some shorts and get up here, form some buildup, and come up and take out the highs. Come up and take out that liquidity before they turn the other way. Couple of scenarios, or you could get the S&P scenario. Blast through pretty much everything that every supposed healthy support test area, and just continue straight through. I like these big candles here for areas of test. They're getting up in those. There's orders that need to be filled down in these areas. So, where's your swing low pivot right here? I mean, and come down and test these areas. Going to be interesting to watch, see if this thing just cuts bait, and take a quick scalp ride to one of these support areas. Or if you're feeling froggy and you think that this is done, it's tough to say in an area distribution. And this looked like distribution too, but I mean this was just swallowing up. And I was really paying attention to this area right here, to this build up right along this pivot here, this high. I said, one way or another, this is going to break. One way or another, it's going to break, and I think it's going to break up. And that was a strong candle too. That was a nice strong candle right there. That was a nice breakout. That was not a false breakout. So we had some build up right here. We had a lot of build up in this area for the better part of almost an entire trading day. I had that build up here. So there was no quit on it. There was no quit back here. So I don't know. Is it done? If we're following comms, maybe. I'm going to watch the dollar index too. Can we do the dollar index on the 15-minute chart? Let's take a look. Boy, I think this video is going on a lot longer than I wanted it to. Yeah, 20-something minutes. The next ones have got to be quite a bit faster. But this is important. This is important because there's some good money here. DYX? DX? Yeah, DXY. Hello, hello, hello. That's cool. That is interesting. I like that. I like being able to put that in the 15-minute chart. I don't like it cluttering up my damn chart, but would you? Do we think that there's an inverse correlation going on here? Is it possible that there's an inverse correlation going on here? Boy, we really could have benefited from that. Had we known that earlier. So what we're gonna have to do is watch the dollar for a bottom here. The dollar starts bottoming out a little bit and starts to, we get a little bit of a retrace. Then, yeah, maybe the Euro FX is done here. We get some movement on the dollar. Might be a good idea to short it, especially if the dollar really turns up. You're gonna have to get ahead of this. You're gonna have to watch the news, and you're gonna have to find out what's going on in the market this week, because there was a lot of fear and panic at the end of last week, and we're gonna have to take the temperature of the market, of the people, of the public, of the speculators, and find out what the hell's going on here. That's my take on the euro. Here's a couple of scenarios I'm going to be looking out for. I'm looking for a breakdown, but I'm awful cautious that they might come up and try to take this high out before they kill it. Is that enough? Does that look like enough? I mean, some profit taking up against the trend line. This thing could just come up and re-challenge this high before it breaks down. And this is the beginning stage of, maybe of distribution. We don't know, but are you getting another squeeze up into this, into the high, into, get this ascending triangle look, come up, test the highs, like we did back here, where we thought the euro was distributing nicely, but it was just accumulating, and a nice accumulation pattern, right? You got that nice W pattern up against the ceiling, and then this build up, and then this build up. We're gonna have to watch this. I'm not screaming short yet, but it could happen. It definitely could happen. So you gotta watch. We gotta watch for this right now. We'll take a peek this week. Okay, that's the euro. This video has been way too long. Thanks for stopping in. The Discord is listed. If you want to come in and talk about the charts, tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Tell me you've peered in at my journal and I'm a shit trader. Just kidding, folks. But hopefully this has been a little bit helpful, a little bit informative. Did we check market sentiment here? Because it should be down. Should be down in the 15-minute. Let's take a look. I gotta tell you. Yep. I like double peaks on market sentiment. Market sentiment is high, think short. Think short. When it's low, think rally. Low, rally. High. Get the hell out. So that's that's in the 15. Do we have sentiment on? I mean, hard to tell. This was moving down and then quick jump up. That would be worrisome here. Find out what the market does this week. Could find a nice short on the euro. I know the euro dollar has been getting a little bit bearish in terms of commercial interest. So we look at GE here, and they are not very optimistic whatsoever. They're posting negative numbers here. handsomely negative numbers on the net short contracts, more so than we have seen in the 6-month index. Why? Because we're below 0. Anything below 20 is bearish. So, looking at the euro dollar, what's happening here? Did this thing jump off a cliff? Maybe we'll do a video on this. But I thought the euro dollar wasn't blazing. So on the 15-minute, it did jump off a cliff here. We topping out here? We topping out? Okay. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. We'll try to keep it a little shorter, so you don't have to spend your entire Sunday listen to me talk about this, that, or the other thing. Anyways, Discord is listed in the description. Hope you find yourself on the profitable side of the trade, and we'll see you on the next video.